Okay, we are going to call the Parks Department budget hearing to order. And Interim Parks Director Monique Odom, Assistant Director of Planning and Facilities and Development Tim Naich, and Assistant Director of Greenways and Open Space Shane Dennison are here to speak with our Budget and Finance Committee, as well as our Parks Committee members and other council members. I am the chair of the Parks and Libraries Committee of the Council, Council Lady Angie Henderson. And with that, Director Odom, take it away, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Council Lady Henderson. We're pleased to be here, members of the Budget and Finance Committee and members of the Council. I'm Monique Odom again. I'm Interim Parks Director. Joining me here are, to my right, Shane Dennison. She's Assistant Director for Open Space and Greenways, and Tim Naich. To my left here is Assistant Director for Planning and Facility Development. In the gallery with us today are our Park Board Chair, George Anderson, our Vice Chair, Jen Garcia, and our other Park Board member, longtime Park Board member, Stan Fossick. Staff joining us today are Janet Frazier, who's assistant to me, Jackie Jones, who's over our community affairs area, Sally Davis, Assistant Director for Community Recreation Programs, Rick Taylor, Assistant Director for Consolidated Maintenance, John Holmes, Assistant Director for Revenue Producing Facilities, Jim Hester, Assistant Director for Natural Resources, Outdoor and Cultural Recreation and Events, and Captain Chris Taylor, who is with the Metro Nashville Police Department and heads our Park Police Division. I'd very briefly like to share with you some of the department's accomplishments over the last fiscal year. We now have a total of 86 miles of greenway. Just this weekend, we had the ribbon cutting for Mullins Park and Whites Creek Greenway in the Bordeaux area. Acquisition of land in the area made possible the connection by new greenway along Whites Creek to the greenway on the other side of Clarksville Highway that goes to the Hartman Park Regional Community Center. The park and new trailhead for the Whites Creek Greenway were made possible through a partnership with Metro Water Services, cooperative landowners, and the insight and effort of the Greenways and Open Space Division. This beautiful land provides not only the missing link in the Greenway, but provides great future recreation opportunity and future access directly from Clarksville Highway. We will add another 3.75 miles with the construction of the Mill Creek Greenway at Orchard Bend Park and the 440 Greenway pilot segment, now under construction, which will connect Centennial and Elmington Parks. Our planning division had a stellar year, completing the Parks and Greenways Master Plan, known as Plan to Play. The master plan will be our roadmap for building parks and recreational facilities over the next several years. That division also completed master plans for the Two Rivers Mansion and the Atifama Archaeological Park, and completed construction of the Stones River Dog Park and the Warner Park Road to Trail project. And just this weekend, that division hosted planning sessions for 2 new regional parks in southeast Davidson County and the Donaldson Hermitage areas. Our revenue-generating facilities continue to produce solid results. For instance, rounds of golf at Two Rivers Golf Course are up by almost 18% over the same time period this same time period last year, while our other 6 courses are showing a 3% increase. It's important to note that on a national level, rounds of golf continue to decline. The Sportsplex hosted a number of athletic events, with one of the most notable bringing in more than $300,000 in revenue for hockey alone. The Parthenon hosted more than 300,000 visitors, while approximately 55,000 people chose Wave Country as their aquatic entertainment last summer. In 2016, Metro Parks permitted 630 special events with over 1.8 million attendees. As the city grows the demand for use of park space as event space increases, and we work hard to accommodate the popularity of events while keeping the parks open and in good shape for other parks users. Special events are a great public-private partnership that enables us to provide all sorts of programming that we would not otherwise be able to provide. Community centers continue to be dynamic gathering spaces for people from all walks of life. We are pleased with the community's demand for new facilities, and we're happy to report we have broken ground on 2 new facilities to be located in Madison and Smith Springs, respectively. We logged nearly 1 million visits last fiscal year. We also established a dynamic 14-member Youth Advisory Council that will create community projects throughout the year and provide the youth perspective for some of our programs and facilities. In addition to planting nearly 800 trees and maintaining over 15,000 acres of land, our maintenance division completed a number of budgeted projects, including renovations at Hamilton Creek Marina and the pool at Cleveland Park. Our cultural arts program, which includes music, dance, theater, and visual arts, is always pushing the boundaries of their crafts. Our Arts Center continues to offer dynamic exhibitions on a monthly basis that are completely free to the public. Our theater division offered production classes free of charge to young people between the ages of 9 and 14. Our dance division continues to expand its reach by offering Tai Chi and African drum and dance at our community centers, while our music division continues to offer low-cost music lessons and present standing room-only concerts at the Centennial Black Box Theater. Fort Negley has seen a marked increase in visitors this spring, with more people stopping in the visitor center and both residents and tourists walking the grounds to see the fort, many for the first time. Metro Parks is working with the Metro Historic Commission on a cultural landscape plan that should be done this fall. This plan will give professional historic and historic landscape guidance on the proper care and maintenance of the Fort Negley grounds. The Fort Negley Technical Advisory Committee, with representation from the Metro Tree Advisory Committee, is meeting on a regular basis to view all plans and work at the fort. Ascend Amphitheater has launched its 3rd season, and Live Nation has now hosted 87 shows as of May 19th, with 399,000 attendees. Ascend Amphitheater won Polestar's Best New Major Concert Venue in 2015 and was nominated for Best Small Outdoor Venue in the nation in its 2nd year. In 2016, the venue generated approximately $981,000 in fees for the Metro Nashville government and over $1 million in state and local taxes. The venue is extremely popular and also is used for Nashville symphony shows and civic events benefiting the National African American Music Museum, the city's 4th of July celebration, the CMA Music Festival, and the Americana Music Festival. I could go on and on about the great things going on in parks, but will curb my comments at this time and entertain your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. In the queue, we have Councilman Russ Pulley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple of questions here I wanted to run by you, just looking at the numbers here that maybe can help me understand better. The 2 FTEs that you got for park police look like $97,750 per position. I'm assuming that includes benefits. It just seems a little high to me. So can you help me better understand that?
It does. It includes, it's 2 park police officers. It does include all personnel costs and some additional costs for, uniform allowance and some of the equipment that the officers would need. The actual salaries for the position would only be around close to $40,000 each. So they're not terribly high salaries, but it includes some other equipment and supplies that would be needed for each position to get started.
There's equipment, supplies, salary, benefits, and Is training included in that package?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that makes sense to me. There was another thing I had in here I wanted to ask you about.
I can come
You can come back to me
back
if
to
you
you,
want.
Councilman Pulley. Are you
Thank you.
sure you got it? Okay. Councilman Pridemore.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Interim Director Odom, and
Thank you.
your staff. I certainly appreciate you all being here, and Tim and Shane, we certainly enjoy, and in fact, I appreciate the rest of your support you have in the back.
Absolutely.
But a couple of questions I have. One thing I want to again let you know that people of Madison are very pleased with the movement of the community center. It looks like it's really coming along, and they're looking forward to taking advantage of it next spring and summer. One thing I wanted to ask you, or a question that's come up, and they asked that I would ask, and the community center, the way it's, I guess the way it's funded, the structure of the funding, there's a phase one, which is funded, and then a phase two that the number's there, but it just isn't funded. Is that?
That is correct.
That's what I've been advising them.
That's
So,
correct.
okay.
Correct.
So what we need to do is get that funded for the remainder of the project.
I'll yield that to Tim, but I would say that get it funded for the remainder of the project, or when phase one is complete, at some point in the future, a phase two could begin.
Right.
It probably would be more economical to do it all at one time, but. not
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah, I mean, that's, I didn't mean that it didn't have the money in phase one and asked for additional funding.
Right.
No, I know that everything's good there. I just, they wanted to know, the question was presented to me, realizing there is a phase two, they didn't know whether the money was there now for phase two, or is that something that needs to be funded later? And I've been advising them of that it's funded later, and I want to
That's
make
right.
sure it's correct.
That's correct. We do not
Okay.
have current funding for.
Okay, and
phase
that's something, but you have a timetable for phase two. Phase two is something that comes,
We have a loose timetable for it. I mean, it would be, of course, after phase one, should funding become available. When phase one is wrapping up, then we may proceed with phase two. If at some point after that, phase one is already done, then we move at a later time to phase two.
okay. And maybe somewhere down the line, I can get with you and find out what exactly is in phase two, because that's what some of them, there's always rumors running rampant when building. And they mentioned that some of the ideas they thought would be in one or in two. And I've tried to make that, clear to them which ones are and are not. So I just need to, I'll get with you later. But I want to tell you again, they're all very thankful, and thankful for the Metro government for taking care of Madison's community. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you and appreciate you for managing those expectations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Pridemore. Councilman Pulley, did you recall your second question? Okay, I'll come back to you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was a little curious when I ran the numbers, and you can check me on this if you'd like, but when I ran the numbers on the Smith Springs Regional Community Center, it looked like the FTE average was $19,258 per person, and the one at Madison Regional Community Center averaged out to $17,193 per FTE, and I was wondering what the difference in what represents the difference and why there was a $2,000 difference per FTE.
The difference in staffing level is the difference in, there will be a swimming pool at Smith Springs, and that is currently in the plan, so there will be staff accommodating that feature. There is not at this time at Madison.
Okay, and only one other question. It looks like your professional and purchase services are up about 17%, or $114,800. That's a pretty good chunk of the budget. So I was wondering if you could explain what that's for.
A lot of our staff have been, well, what you may or may not know, the National Recreation and Park Association convention will be held in Nashville in 2021. So several of our staff members, including me, who attended last year, have been attending those annual conferences, to be trained on how to operate the conference, what it means to the city, and all the things that we need to try to put in place for that. We also continue to provide continuing education for our maintenance staff and many other members of our staff as members of the Tennessee Recreation and Park Association. So to continue, helping our workforce build their skill level. That's probably what that is.
So it's professional development is what the lion's share of that money's for?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
It is.
Thank you, Councilman Pulley. Councilman Jim Schulman. Let's see. Councilman Schulman, I have been told that no more than 6 microphones can be active concurrently. Okay. So turn off Councilman Pulley, turn off Councilman Pridemore. There you go.
Testing. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Madam Chair. Director and the park staff, we are glad you're here. Just a couple of questions. I'm just checking my numbers. So last year, I think in your budget, you got 111 new positions. Does that sound right?
Yes, and because 72 of those were seasonal positions for our community centers.
Okay. So 111, and then this year 52?
New positions?
52 new positions.
No. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, with the 2 community centers, yeah, that would be 52.
So, all right, so I'm looking at the seasonal, that stayed the same. Well, wait a minute, let me see. So according to the budget document, 2016, it was 296. Last year was 296. This year's 296. So there are other seasonal worker positions I think may have accounted for some of that.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess the question would be, I've been asking other departments, vacancies within your department. Do you know how many vacant positions you have right now?
We have, let's see, we have 25, hold on just a second, I brought that information because I know you asked it. I brought that.
I've been giving warnings to everybody when they come.
Yeah, no. We have 28 full-time, 25 part-time, 72 seasonal, and 52 that are in a pooled category.
Okay, when you say that the seasonal are vacant, were they vacant last year too?
No, they are vacant because they are seasonal. That we are in the process of hiring for those positions. They are currently vacant.
Okay, so go back to those other numbers. So you had, in terms of full-time employees, how many vacant?
28.
28, and then in terms of?
25.
25 part-time?
Part-time.
And do you know how long those positions, particularly the full-time, have been vacant?
I don't know for each one, but I did submit that information specifically to the council office. But I would say only one that we found was vacant for at least a year. So what happens, let me just explain a little bit. Sometimes what happens in our department, if we either get a new position or a position is vacated, then we open that position and we may, just say it's a higher level position. Someone is generally promoted internally, and so that creates a kind of a domino effect. Right. And so we frequently have vacant positions because there may be lag time between when someone leaves a position, when we're able to get something posted in the interview process, and then that domino effect takes place. So we will routinely carry vacancies. And I'll just also say, in regard to meeting our budget obligation, our operating budget obligation, we rely on salary savings to meet the bottom line, to make sure that we are within budget at the end of the year.
Okay, so, but I think what that means, because I've seen that before, is that if you don't fill those spots, then you have savings that are generated, and that money goes to meet your bottom line in terms of budgeting.
Correct.
Okay, so you know how much you would have saved last year to make sure, in terms of making sure that your budget is met, like with this budget, are you going to have to rely on savings again in order to make it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not, I think it is strategic. We have routinely delayed filling positions. If something becomes vacant, we delay filling it for at least a month to use that as salary savings. any kind of critical positions, of course, we absolutely must fill, but we try to be deliberate and strategic about how we do that, and just try to work within our budget.
So, and you may not know this, but I mean, do you have any idea of what that, again, of what you need in order to make sure that you hit your budget in terms of savings?
I don't offhand, but I can get that to you. Okay. I don't offhand.
No, I appreciate you being honest, because that's what happens. I understand how that works. Yeah. My last question was the summer enrichment program. Mm-hmm. So I was just looking at last year's budget. I think we put money in for a summer enrichment program. Mm-hmm. Is that going on again this year?
It is going on again this year, and those 72 positions that I mentioned in the beginning were for that particular program. It's in our community centers. And as of this morning, when I spoke to Ms. Davis, Sally Davis, who leads that division, we had 2,400 young people enrolled, and there's still some vacancies at, I think she said, West and Bellevue. Okay. So, yeah, it's still going on.
Very good. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilman Schulman. Parks and Libraries Committee Vice Chair, Councilman Kevin Roten.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Monique, thank you for the wonderful event on Saturday. That was really nice. Thank you, Tim, for coming out. It was kind of overwhelming, the number of people that showed up and what y'all did, so I really want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Following that, and I don't want to sound like Councilman Pridemore, but I know we have funding available for the development and the planning, and I've been told possibly, Tim might know or you might know, possibly the development of the first phase, which I'm not really sure what that is. I've looked in the budget, and I haven't really seen anything for operating, as in park police or anything like that.
Right.
So I guess what I'm wanting to know is, what do you see you needing going forward to get at least the first phase done, and the number of people? And is it in this budget, or will it be in the next year's budget? We hope.
We hope. Okay. We actually don't have any operating requests for that piece of property at this point. I'll yield to Tim about the development. There is some existing funding that was appropriated, but in terms of the phases, I'll yield to Tim.
We do currently have funding for design of the first phase. As we get further along in the master planning process, we'll identify what that first phase will be, and then proceed with design. The master plan itself will probably wrap up with a public presentation in December. If we can, we would like to anticipate that, and if we can have a little bit of overlap between completing the master plan and starting on design of phase one, that could gain us a few months in terms of timetable. And then with the development of there will be cost estimates associated with the master plan. When we get into design development, there will be refined cost estimates for construction of that first phase, and use those to inform future CIBs and operating budget as well.
Thank you. One other question I had, I was looking through the capital improvements budget, and this may be something I need to talk to the mayor's office about. It was more with regard to what we spent on the community center and ice rink out in Antioch, and what we're spending on the community center and ice rink down in Bellevue. The capital improvements budget shows us spending $30 million on the Bellevue project, whereas we only spent $14 million in Antioch. Could you elaborate on that a little bit and let me know kind of what's going on with that? Thank you.
Do you want me to handle it? The Southeast Community Center and Library project was managed by Metro General Services, so we were a partner with them on that. The majority of that funding came through Metro General Services. The total cost the cost for the community center portion of that project was approximately $10 million. Since then, we have the experience of bidding two new community centers, Madison and Smith Springs. And so the amount in the mayor's capital spending plan, $10 million, would be associated with the center component of the Bellevue project.
I guess that's my issue, because the document that planning put out showed a $30 million number for fiscal year 18, and I was wondering where that 30 million was coming from.
Is Rich here?
The 30 million, it was, I'll tell you the divide, the breakup of it. It was 2 million for land, the 10 million that Tim mentioned for the community center, and then 18 million for the rink side. So that totals 30 million.
And so the Antioch ice rink, was that paid for by a separate entity, or did we pay for that as well?
Sport.
So that project was divided into two different projects. The ice rink was a sports authority debt, which is ultimately paid for by the city if there's a shortfall. The Predators are paying a portion of the lease payment of the debt service, and the rest is paid by the city. And then the community center and park facility were paid out of GO bonds. They totaled about $13 or so million for that part of the facility, and the ice rink was about 14 or 15 million. So it's a very similar cost.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Roten. Councilman Colby Sledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thanks to the department for being here. I appreciate all your help. And
I'm sorry, Councilman Sledge. Sorry.
Hey, I'm
go
back.
ahead.
Wanted to give special thanks even today, this morning. Your department was very helpful in working through an issue about preparing for the increasing farmers market we have out at Sevier Park. I wanted to ask, I've got a couple of questions. I'll start there. What kind of growth are we seeing in these sorts of, when park space is rented, for lack of a better term, what kind of growth are we seeing there, and how is the department kind of keeping up from a staffing and maintenance perspective?
We're seeing tremendous growth. I mean, as the city grows, so does the demand on metro parks for all types of activities. I wish I could tell you we could not use more people. We could definitely use more people. We always could. But we do the best we can with what we have. We partner with many organizations to kind of extend ourselves beyond where we could go on our, where we could programs and services that we could provide on our own.
Are you seeing an increase in maintenance costs based on some of these events? Are we budgeting appropriately, I guess is what I'm saying, for increased usage?
I think, yes, I think so. I think that the fees that we require anybody who wants to reserve space or do these rentals or activities covers our costs. And if there are damages or anything like that, we are sure to try to recover those from the event organizer.
So there's a process that's established.
There is a process.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Staying in Sevier, we talked briefly about this, and it's something I think Councilman Roten started to touch on. Some of the historic aspects within our parks we're getting some planning money for that. Could you talk a little bit to that? I've got Sunnyside, but kind of what those planning phases look like, what people should expect to see from some of that capital spending?
Mm-hmm. Well, we were happy to see some funding in the proposed capital spending plan for Sunnyside. That's been the outbuildings in particular, and what was the L, the addition on the back, some people call it the annex, that was originally connected to the mansion, have been at risk for some time. So with this planning money, we would move forward with design work on the restoration of those buildings, adaptive reuse of the outbuildings, in particular per the Sevier Park Master Plan. And then as part of that process, they would include cost estimates for construction. So that would be a future capital request. The other funding that has been identified is for Two Rivers Mansion. This past year, we completed a master plan for the Two Rivers Mansion campus, and one of the program elements was a special events pavilion. We recommended that this be the first phase of master plan implementation because with the development of the pavilion, the Friends of Two Rivers Mansion, with whom we have an operating agreement, can increase their revenue for the purpose of being reinvested directly into the mansion and the preservation of those historic elements. The mansion and the 1802 house actually had full exterior restorations a few years ago. This will allow us to move forward with interior work on both of those buildings, historical interpretation and site improvements.
Is the thought, when we're going through some of this adaptive reuse thought process, and within the plan to play draft, I remember seeing things about talking about how are we bringing in some different uses maybe that haven't been in the parks before, whether they're complementary like concessions or things like that. Is that part of this process as well, looking at those kinds of uses?
Yes, and the Sevier Park Master Plan is a good example of that. It identifies the carriage house behind Sunnyside Mansion as a cafe space, so we would like to move forward with that. A real challenge with some of our historic buildings is finding a use for them that that is compatible with the preservation of the building itself, and we probably haven't done as good of a job looking at adaptive reuse for something other than, for example, house museums in the past. So Sevier Park may be our first example of this new strategy in Sevier Park. The same is true for two of the historic buildings in Centennial Park, the Naval Building in Shelby Park, and there are other opportunities as well. So adaptively reuse them, create unique spaces, unique opportunities to experience these parks that can't be reproduced anywhere else with high quality food, and that could potentially tie into some of the urban agriculture that we're also exploring with these master plans for these new sites.
Great. Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I've got a couple more questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about Fair Park because I know that that's on the fairgrounds property, but from a budget standpoint, are we seeing, I know that we've put money in from the capital spending, both in this current budget and in the budget to come. Are we seeing operational funds from the Parks Department planned for that, given that it fills some of our plan to play needs? We have not.
There aren't any included in the FY18 budget.
Okay.
Although, like you said, the park will, Fair Park will hopefully come to fruition with a dog park, a greenway, picnic spaces, and multipurpose sports fields. We haven't put anything in the budget here for this. The main concern, as of right now, for that particular park area would be maintenance. Again, that drives everything. We want to take good care of the spaces and facilities that we have. So I could foresee in the future and ask for additional maintenance dollars.
Okay. And then one final question about Opportunity Now. I was curious about the departments. I know we've had these seasonal positions in the last few years in the budget. How's the department participating in Opportunity Now?
We have, we've been asked to have 250 additional Opportunity Now positions. They were approved through an appropriation that the council approved a few months ago. We are working on filling those positions in addition to the seasonal positions that we already had in the department, which were largely filled by young people in that age range of not necessarily 14, but up to 24. So we already had some positions that we were filling with folks in that age range. We've added an additional 250, and we're working toward getting those positions filled right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Sledge. Council Lady Karen Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Henderson. Well, I want to first say thank you, Interim Director Monique Odom, for your leadership, and Deputy Director Tim Nash for your leadership, and as well as Shane Dennison. You all are outstanding. We have an outstanding parts leadership team, and I appreciate everything that you do each and every day with the little budget that you have. And I also want to give a shout out to my former colleague that I served with, Park Board Chair George Anderson. Thank you for being here. and Vice Chair Stan Fossick, Janet Frazier, and Jackie Jones. Everybody sees Parks as family. So thank you all for being here. And Jim Hester. I can't forget Jim Hester back there. But my question, well, I have three.
Okay.
The small park improvements on page A36, does that include the monies that will be for the upcoming pocket parks that's in the master plan, the park and play master plan?
Council Lady Johnson, can you be more specific? I don't believe they have the same budget book that we
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
You just mentioned the project again specifically and the,
it has a operating budget impact of $100,000. It
getting
says
to the
deferred
page.
maintenance projects, maintenance small park improvements.
We're getting to the page. A36, is that what you said?
Yeah, alphabet A, 36. But I'll go ahead to the second question while you're looking that up.
We got it.
Okay.
Would you
Okay.
repeat your
Does that
question?
include
Would you repeat your
does that include the planned pocket parks that is in the current master plan, park and play master plan?
are you asking whether the land acquisition funding
No, the
includes-
money. Is that the money that is?
That funding has been allocated, now you're going to have to help me with this, Monique. Several small park projects, including Casa Azafran, Oakwood Park, Goodlettsville Park. Hold on.
It's a long list of,
I can get, you can email that to me. Thank you.
Okay.
That
I think
answers that.
those are the,
Yeah.
those are the primary.
That answers that
projects.
question. Thank you. On the park police,
yes.
Captain Taylor, I just spoke with him, and I didn't give you a shout out either. You're so awesome. But I just want to make sure with the expansions of our park facilities that we have adequate park police because we're doing some significant expansions.
Absolutely.
And so I want to make sure that the 2 additional park police officers on I-40, page I-40-3, is that sufficient to meet the needs that you have?
We currently have a force of 22. The thought here is to request 2 officers each year for the next 3 years. So to build the force incrementally. So
So we will be looking at some additional ones outside of this. And you have, what, 2 vacancies right now to fill, so that would be 4?
correct,
And you have to wait till they're through the academy?
correct.
Okay. And the other is on I-40-4 and I-40-5. Do I see a decrease in maintenance services and funding there? And the reason why I ask is because, again, with our parks expansion being so great, grass cutting is going to be something that a lot of our constituents will continue to call us about because we love having parks, we love expanding them, but is there plans to have a more regular schedule on cutting, or is that area being cut here?
It's not being cut. We don't have
Okay.
any reductions in our consolidated maintenance area. Like I said, well, as you well know, we do the best we can with what we have. We have a wonderful maintenance division that I call them the can-do crew because they always get it done, no matter how late at night, how early in the morning, how wet, how dry, how they have to climb or whatever. They always get it done. But this is not a reduction to maintenance
Okay.
at all, no.
Okay, well, thanks that I'm
No.
reading that incorrectly. Well, that is definitely something that I want to make sure we provide enough funding for so that with the expansion of park properties, dog parks, and our community center properties, that we do keep the grass cut on a regular basis. I I also want to thank you all for the work that you did at the Hikes and Hayride and Hikes event this past Sunday. Very informational. We learned a lot in terms of the history that was brought out through this project. So we're going to be looking at trying to get some historical markers on that property as well. And we thank you for the improvements at Una Park. Everyone is excited out there, and especially for the Smith Springs Center as well as Madison. So I just think you all do an incredible amount of work. I know the work you do from previously sitting on the park board. And we thank you for everything you do to expand park opportunities, especially catching Southeast Nashville up in terms of access. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. We have 4 more council members in the queue, and we are getting to almost being 15 minutes over time. So I'm going to cut off the new questions at this juncture, but if other council members do have questions that occur to them, I would ask that you would email those to me with a CC to Rosie, and then we can make sure that you all will address those questions. So next in the queue is Councilman John Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you, everybody, for being here. A quick question. There is a backlog of projects that are approved, appropriated, past the capital spending plan. I'm not sure how big a number Parks has in the backlog, but how much do you feel is coming off the backlog in FY18? Even though your current capital CSP number may not be that great, that doesn't mean that you're not actively doing past capital projects.
Projects that are slated to wrap up this year are the Casa Azafran Park. We'll break ground on Centennial Park Phase 2 this year. The Fannie Mae D's Dragon Restoration, which is a partnership with the Hillsborough Weston Neighborhood Association, should wrap up this year. The Hadley Tennis Bubble. Let's see, the Madison and Smith Springs Community Centers will both be probably spring of next year. Oakwood Park will break ground before Labor Day this year. Orchard Bend Park will be completed in spring of next year. The master plans for Ravenwood Lytle Bend as well as Antioch Southeast will be completed by the end of this year, and we'll go straight into design on those. Riverfront, Fort Nashboro will be substantially complete this Friday. We're doing a walkthrough for final punch list items, and then we will be scheduling an opening event there sometime after CMA week around June 12th. UNA is about 90% complete, so we'll wrap that up within the next several weeks. The tunnel, Birch Reserve Connector Phase 2 at Edwin Warner Park is under construction, and we'll wrap that up this year. And West Park, which is a partnership with Metro Water Services, I see Scott out there, will also wrap up this year. Those are the big projects that we have underway currently.
Thank you. And could you put a dollar amount next to these and then circulate them back to the committee?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Cooper. Ms. Hayes, did you get that question? Okay, thank you so much. Council Lady Erica Gilmore.
Thank you, Chair Henderson. Thank you each for being here. I was happy, actually, that Councilmember Cooper asked for that list. Those are some wonderful projects that are coming through. I know a lot of people have been asking, a lot of citizens, especially about the bubble and the Fannie Mae Park. We're going to get it right. My daughter used to play. We actually had a birthday for her when she was little over there. So really excited about that. I mean, because we heard the history and everything about how this gentleman got these people together to work on the dragon. So that was really exciting. I had 2 questions. Okay. One is I wanted to see what is Coleman Park. Explain to me how does that operate? Do we still operate that facility, or is that someone else operating that facility?
Coleman? It's a regional community.
Okay, so it is a regional. So are we doing some kind of partnership with someone, or no? Like with the Boys and Girls Club, and just somebody renting it out? Or?
Not in that way. I think that's a location where the NASA program is, but it's an after-school program.
Okay, so it's only the NASA.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. And then I wanted to ask about Napier, so it's two questions. I know this is operational, so let me ask the question I'm not supposed to ask first, which is a more of a capital. But I just know.
You can ask capital questions at the
Okay,
hearing.
I can?
Council Lady.
Oh, wonderful. So I know they've been working on the air indoors for a couple years now, and the swimming pool. Where are we with that?
Actually, I had a conversation this morning about the Napier swimming pool. We're working on getting it repaired.
Okay.
It is an older pool.
Okay.
But we're working on getting it repaired, and it should be repaired in the next week or so, couple weeks.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's really important, especially to that community
To that
over there,
community.
right?
That's exactly the conversation.
Because we know the kids
Yes.
have trouble swimming,
Yes.
and, okay, so.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, now what about the air conditioning part? There's in that gym.
Oh, and the gym, yeah, it's one of the, that's an older center where we are putting in air in several of those centers around the city. I think there are 4, so that's in progress as well.
Look at you guys.
Yeah.
You're rock stars. Okay, and so then I just have one more follow-up question. Are we looking at trying to let a nonprofit organization run that park over there at Napier, or will it remain just Napier running it? So, for instance, some type of Boys and Girls, like Martha O'Brien, or something like, are we looking at doing that?
No, not that I'm aware.
Okay, I hope we don't. I think it's really important to keep it going like it is, and I think people really benefit, or citizens really benefit from that. Okay. So, I mean, those are all my questions, and I just want to say I look forward to working with Tim on the Pocket Park on Jefferson Street. How exciting, right? Awesome. So exciting. So thank you so much. You answered all the questions I had. Oh, just rock stars. All right.
Thank you, Council Lady Gilmore. Council Lady Van Reese.
I don't know how to follow that. That was awesome. I can't believe really how much we've done in District 8 in 1 year. And I wanted to stop and say thank you for that. Both with the Oakwood Park revisioning, and I guess we're now on the third revisioning of making sure that it's going to work, and we use the dollars for people and not for concrete. So we're working on that. The Station Boulevard project that's going in with the park behind the Madison Library, and some visioning on that. The idea of the Bayshaw Park coming together. And the trail-oriented development from Oakwood to Trinity Lane, both the Bayshaw and the trail-oriented development are each in of themselves public-private opportunities. And the idea that we can work with business with the Parks Department, I think, is very interesting. And we need to do more of that, both with HCA at Bayshaw and with local developers on the trail-oriented development all the way through. To have a way to bike and walk and jog and run along Ellington Parkway, I think, is an exciting thing. And none of those things 12 months ago existed. And I wanted to thank you for that. I did have a follow-up question about Parks Police, so I'm glad that you're adding a couple, and we'll continue to do that. And I think that the distribution of that and hearing from the different police departments, whether it be East or Madison or West or North, for what support they need to cover those areas so that you're putting them near the places they need to be. I know that there's a lot of excitement about Oakwood Park, but at the same time, presence is an important part of that plan. And I know that I know we're going to hear from the Arts Commission here shortly after libraries, but public art in public parks has been an ongoing collaboration. And I'd like to hear from you just how well you feel like that's going, if there is a need from the parks side for another person to concentrate specifically to work as an artist in residence at Parks Department, to be that liaison in the same way that the Arts Commission has said we're going to have a public art person in the Arts Commission. How can we better solidify that relationship? I'd like to hear from you about that.
I think public art is a good thing. I'll say this, and I'll yield to Tim because he's worked most frequently with the Art Commission in getting public art at different park facilities. Anytime there's an opportunity or a space where we can offer in partnership with the Arts Commission, and offer a public art piece or mural or whatever, some sort of public art. I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
In most of our work with my work with the Metro Arts Commission has been in integrating those percent for art projects in park facilities. And Jen I'm sure she'll correct me if I'm wrong, but parks may be where may have the largest collection of public art projects compared to other departments. So we're huge supporters of public art, and it enriches the experience and the quality of all of the spaces that we create. It's always been a very collaborative project and a process, and we've continued to talk about ways to improve that process each time we embark on a new one. So I think that we all feel very, very positive and about that relationship. Having the Arts Commission staff and the artists selected working directly with the planning and design team is an essential relationship. So we do count on the Arts Commission staff to provide some of the management expertise with the artists, but the key is having everybody working together at one table. So I feel like if you look at the range of unmet needs staff-wise within the Parks Department, I feel like we're actually in pretty good shape with the way that the relationship works. We would love to have more arts staff, of course.
Well, I appreciate you saying what you just did, that there needs to be an artist at the table whenever you're planning. And I continue to challenge my fellow council members with every community meeting and situation that there's an artist in the room to be able to have those different perspectives. And so I thank you for that. One final thing, and that's some of these, I know that Councilman Pridemore and I have some houses about to be torn down by Public Works in the flood mitigation situation. And that leaves these weird little, by accident, we'll call them pocket parks. And I'm wanting to see whether or not there's been any kind of history, if there's anything in this particular budget, either here or later, that we need to help facilitate community parks in those situations. Because there's been some interest on Gibson and on Chadwell. When those houses come down, you've got a lot of green space in the middle of a neighborhood because of the floodway. And didn't know if you had any news from me on that, or the proper way that we need to address it.
Ms. Dennison, do you want to address that?
We would definitely be excited to have that open space transferred to Metro Parks, where we could establish parks like we've done in several flood buyouts. The Greenway we just opened this weekend was made possible, an access point was made possible by that. So it has played an important role. We've done England Park, and I know I'm forgetting something. England Park, what else?
Wimpole.
Wimpole. We've expanded several parks and added greenways and trails at most of those sites, so we would look forward to that.
Thank you, Councilor Van Reese. Councilman Brett Withers.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for indulging me. And I know I'm not on the Budget and Finance Committee, and I also arrived late, so I apologize if I'm repeating anything. I will say, first of all, I definitely appreciate the question from my colleague, Councilmember Sledge, about the historic preservation. And Tim, I appreciate your comments with regard to the Naval Building in Shelby. I get a lot of questions about it. And if you could just please keep me apprised of what the status of that is on finding a user, and I won't hold you on that today, but I do receive a lot of questions about that. Similarly, I do want to echo statements from some of my council colleagues with regard to ensuring that we have adequate parks police coverage. We have had a large number of citizen complaints about car break-ins, for example, at the Shelby Bottoms trailhead. And for some of the other parks in neighborhood areas, sometimes I've received complaints from constituents about consumption of alcohol in parks, which I know is illegal, but it happens, and sometimes it's disruptive if it's next door to your house. So just want to thank you for continuing to staff Parks Police. We appreciate all they do, and I look forward to seeing more additions to that in future years. One comment I really just wanted to make is that this isn't unique to Shelby Park probably, but Shelby Park does have streets that are flagged as streets, and certainly they're used as streets. And in fact, they're thoroughfares, I would say, and they're in a state of disrepair, and it is frustrating, of course, to people who drive through there on their commute, but it's really frustrating to our folks who bike in Shelby Park because the condition of those roads being so rough is really, really dangerous for our bicyclists, and so it's a little bit of a point of contention sometimes, you know, either for streets that are within the park or streets that border the park. If we're looking for traffic calming or if we're looking for different things, Public Works and Parks sort of they point at each other, and we're not getting anywhere on that. And so, number one is I just reiterate that some of our roads in Shelby Park in particular need some attention for the safety of bicyclists, ironically enough. That's number one. And number two, I just want to, if I could, and maybe other council members, if they're similarly situated, could just continue to work with Public Works and Parks over the next year on figuring out how to streamline some of those requests so that we can get them budgeted appropriately. I think that would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Withers. Council Lady Hurt, you are the last in the queue.
Thank you. I'll be brief, Madam Chair. I want to thank Parks for all the wonderful work that they continue to do and have done. All three of my daughters grew up in Metro Parks as lifeguards and bad girls and all of that. But I spoke yesterday to Dr. Joseph in regards to reading, because Ms. Spearing basically said that a lot of the kids lose their reading ability during the summer. And I was wondering if you all had considered having reading in the community centers during the summertime, as my colleague, Councilwoman Van Rees, talked about having someone there for arts. I'm wondering if it would be a feasible thing to have someone there for reading, even if it was just, you know, once or twice a week, to make sure that the kids still had some direct reading opportunities. And if so, I'll be happy to put that on my wish list, because I'm very concerned about the reading of our children, and especially when they're young, the third grade age. I want to make sure that we do all that we can to address it.
Thank you. I think it would be very feasible for us to incorporate that. In fact, I'm not certain that we do not. The programs at the summer enrichment programs at the community centers are packed full of arts, crafts, and even some academic types of activities, nature-based and all sorts. So I would not, I can't at this point say that reading is not a part of it or incorporated in some way, but I definitely would say that if it is not, it would be a feasible option for us.
And Council Lady Hurt, I'll say that provides a good segue to our next hearing with libraries due to their NASA summer programs. If I may, folks, I did have some community questions. If we could just briefly, Ms. Dennison, the Greenways funding, just as far as how it's represented in the budget. I had heard some community concerns that their perception in reading the budget, that was Greenways funding was going down. My impression was it was just being put kind of in different buckets as it related to acquisition. Could you speak to that just briefly?
There's microphone off.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you were on. I believe you're on, actually. Are you not?
There's $3 million for the fairgrounds Greenway, that's Browns Creek Greenway, in this year's capital budget. And then we're in the process of spending down $3 million we have left from last year toward two more projects, one on the Harpeth River, and I just lost my list, one on Mill Creek and one on Whites Creek at Fontanelle.
Okay, and just for the community's understanding, though, that is not a lessening of Greenway's funding.
It's ranged from $3 to $5 million a year. So the $3 million for Browns Creek is within that range.
Okay, and your acquisition for future acquisitions, that remains in a larger bucket for parks acquisition, or is that
My
pulled up?
understanding, you all can correct me, there was not land acquisition money in this capital budget, but we're optimistic that if the mid-year budget happens and we have a need, we'll have the opportunity to ask for that.
Okay.
And I just add that
Yeah, please do.
I just add that we still do have some remaining funds for land acquisition currently. We do still have some funds available.
Okay, I know that I have several remaining questions, but in the interest of time, because we are running 30 minutes over, I think we'll get with you later. And if any other council members have questions, I'd encourage you to do the same. But thank you all very much. And with that, we will conclude the parks hearing, and we invite library staff, please, up to join us.